This somehow gets even more insane for the Toronto Raptors as the directives have been sent. The Raptors are actively trying to lose every single game, and despite the heroics of Jamal Shead tonight, really cooking up down in the clutch and nearly hitting a game winner in this one, the Toronto Raptors were able to follow the plan, follow the mission of capturing a flag, as is the quest to close off this season. The Raptors did lose this game to the Washington Wizards, despite it literally coming down to the final millisecond of action. And it's been clear, it's been evident, it's anyone that's been even watching the box scores of these games or watching the last 2 minutes of these games, the Toronto Raptors are running lineups. They're running a strategy to do their best to, not completely throw away the game, not completely just rest everyone and stuff, but at the end of the games, they are taking Scottie Barnes out. They are taking RJ Barrett out. Jakob Poeltl, it's a game winner the other day. He is sitting in this one. The Toronto Raptors are doing everything they can to lose these games, especially with how easy and light the schedule is. And despite the fact they beat the Orlando Magic the last couple of games, there's no pivot, there's no changes, there's no hey, let's push the plane. The Toronto Raptors are all out on this quest, on this path, and despite running, undrafted guys, G League guys to close out these games, they are still in these games. And this is a testament. This is a huge positive because, the Raptors right now, because I know the big thing people are looking at is the tankathon standings because the Nets have been losing like crazy. The Sixers have been losing like crazy. So it's tough to stay ahead of those teams in terms of the losing race, so to speak. But you still want your guys to be playing good. And I am very encouraged by some of the things we've been seeing out here in this one, especially from Jamal Shead, who, yes, everyone's going to talk about his game winner and what nice of a take it was, the poise, and how it was literally a millisecond from being another heroic game-winning play for the Toronto Raptors. But really, what I saw from Jamal Shead in this one and the close off this game, because even the stats, if we take a look at him, Jamal Shead, and the Raptors lost is 118 to 117, but Jamal Shead getting the start tonight, 5 of 12 shooting from the field, 11 points, 9 assists, 1 steal, 5 rebounds, and frankly, the way he was just orchestrating this offense, the way he was really putting things together for this Raptors team, it was a pleasure to watch. It was something to really behold out there on the basketball court. I mean, he is a legit floor general for your squad and down the stretch because the Raptors are running a lineup of Jamal Shead, Colin Castleton, Orlando Robinson, Jared Robinson, that as well as AJ Lawson, down the stretch in this game. And Jamal Shead was just picking the Washington Wizards apart. Once RJ Barrett got subbed back out and then Jamal Shead thrown back in, Jamal Shead was getting paint touches and making some absolutely amazing decisions to close off this one. And it nearly led to a game winner, nearly led to the Raptors pulling this out, despite the Wizards running all their starters, all their key guys, all their main pieces, and the Raptors, of course, running their bench pieces, their G League bench pieces, so to speak. So, but I do want to give a lot of credit, give a lot of praise to Jamal Shead because he was awesome. The Raptors, again, only 27 minutes, 28 minutes there for RJ Barrett, Scottie Barnes, 24 minutes for Jakob Poeltl, but 3 of those guys were awesome tonight. 23 points for RJ, 21 points for Jakob Poeltl, 18 points for Scottie Barnes. I guess, well, RJ and Yak definitely had the better performances, but Scottie is he got to the free throw line a bit, so the field goal percentage, even though you'd like to see more of them go down, more of those shots, he was attacking the basket, so a lot of those misses were around the rim, so box score wise it was as well. But I thought 3 of those guys just from the eye test did have a solid enough performance. Definitely Jakob Poeltl proving why he is a core piece, why he was not dealt out there in trade talks in those previous discussions. But RJ Barrett continues to show everyone why he should not be traded. I mean, 23, 9, and 3, 1 steal, 1 block, shooting 4 or 5 in the 3-point line. Do not trade this man, Masai Ujiri, but off the bench, that is what it is. Off the bench, Jamison Battle out there getting some run, knocked down 3 threes, which is great to see for him. 11 points, 8 rebounds. He's hustling, he's trying out there on the basketball court. And Jared Roden is proven to be an interesting kind of scorer for this team, especially off the bench. He's been tearing it up in the G League, but had 13 points in this one, slashes the rim really well. Not knocking down his threes in this game, but really did a good job, finished around the basket, doing his thing out there on the basketball court. And then Castleton, on a 10-day contract, showing why, he had a big game out there in the Raptors NL5. I think he had 22 points, I want to say, but, he had a really solid performance. Don't take that number verbatim. I'm going off of memory of reading the box score, but Orlando Robinson, I thought, did a good job. Like, his 2 buckets like he scored in this game, or the 2 field goals he made, were down the stretch, and they were both from Jamal Shead. So it was interesting to see that pick and roll play. I think it's more on Shead than it is Orlando Robinson, but it was an interesting kind of stretch. But really, that's kind of the takeaway, the breakdown on these games. I mean, we're playing the Wizards, who are absolutely bad. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, at least Middleton knocked down a shot down the stretch that won the game for the Wizards. But I don't know. The crazy thing, the thing that makes this like insane for the Toronto Raptors is literally what it's come down to. Because if you're not, I know it's not illegal. Like, the coach could do whatever the heck he wants, and they can't fine anyone or whatever. But Scottie Barnes, RJ Barrett, not even seeing the court, not even one of them seeing the court down the stretch of these games. Darko openly admitting in these post-game presses, it's all about development. It's all about these things for these young guys. I mean, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear in regards to what is happening, what's going on with this Raptors team. I mean, it happens all across the league. Teams are resting. It's a serious thing out there in the NBA, but it is just very blatant, and it is very it's jarring to watch. This team is an absolute roller coaster to watch over the past couple weeks, because they're actively trying to throw the games at the end of it, and it just gets mad. And frankly, like, it makes me feel weird as a fan, because if the team is actively doing their best to, throw the games, to capture that flag, lose these games so, they can get Cooper flag, I mean, it's hard to root for them, to win. You're rooting for the individual players to play well, but it's a weird situation. And I learned this from the PWHL, but it feels like they have the solution. They have the answer to solve tanking. And of course, like, because it is weird, right? Rooting against your team, your favorite team, to lose. I mean, I've been talking to Sean, who was on this podcast. He's watching our games like a hawk, because he wants the Sixers to catch us, all that type of stuff. But the PWHL, what they kind of do right now, and it's fairly interesting, but basically, after a team is knocked out of playoff contention, or I read this somewhere, maybe I'm lying, but if it's not in the PWHL, I think it's just a brilliant idea. But essentially, after the team is knocked out, they're out of playoff contention, or a certain mark is hit. Once you are in that kind of losing bracket where the Raptors don't really have a chance to make the playoff bracket right now, or whatever you want to call it, instead of the worst record getting the best overall, the highest draft odds out there in the NBA lottery, it's the team with the best record after they've been knocked out that is in a certain situation. I mean, that's, again, it would get weird in terms of logistics, especially with a bigger season and stuff. But after a team hits a certain threshold of losses, or hits a certain threshold at the end of a season, I mean, the team that's winning the most games, in that losing bracket to get that top pick, couldn't add some incentives to really compete, to try to get some wins out there in the back half of the season. I don't know. I found it fairly interesting in terms of, I have to read more about it, but it's flashed in my head watching this game, because it is getting blatant. It is getting egregious what's happening out there in the basketball court. And of course, you don't really want that product out there in your team. You have Champions League, all these, or Champions Premier League, whatever, all these teams, soccer teams out there in Europe, they have the relegation, the risk of relegation. So, the draft isn't the same over there. So these end of season games are always competitive. So I think it's something that probably should be solved, something that should have some implementation, but we'll see how things actually play out. But I thought Jamal Shead played really well. I thought there were a lot of positives in this one, and the Raptors did help their tankathon standings, because frankly, as I showed earlier, the Sixers and Nets are losing games like something insane. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. You guys are the best thing as far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, you guys are the best. I'm signing out.